I went to the library today. I got some books that I'm going to be reading. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Well, that sounds kind of fun. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. We were all sitting around the big kitchen table. It was Saturday morning, pancake morning. Mom was squeezing oranges for juice. Henry and I were betting on how many pancakes we could each eat. And Grandpa was doing the flipping. There's Grandpa flipping the pancakes. There's a dog. There's the whole kitchen. There's the batter. There's the pancake mix. And the cat. And there's the two kids. And there's the mom. Oh, she's making the juice. And there's syrup, I believe. And there's 4 plates. And there's 4 cups. Oh, and there's a very old telephone whenever they used to have cords. Oh no. Seconds later, something flew through the air, headed toward the kitchen ceiling. A pancake, maybe? Well, the cat's running, and the dog's running after the cat. Oh, and with a spatula, I'm pretty sure that's how the pancake got there. And landed right on Henry. Oh no, Henry! He's got a pancake on his face. After we realized that the flying object was only a pancake, we all laughed. Even Grandpa. Breakfast continued quite uneventfully. All the other pancakes landed in the pan, and all of them were eaten, even the one that landed on Henry. There's the dog. Oh, and she's giving little nibbles to the cat, and Henry looks okay. He wasn't hurt. That night, touched off by the pancake incident at breakfast, Grandpa told us the best tall tale bedtime story he'd ever told. Across an ocean, over lots of huge bumpy mountains, across 3 hot deserts and 1 smaller ocean. Okay, so that's what all this is. Oceans and mountains and deserts. There lay the tiny town of Chew and Swallow. In most ways, it was very much like any other tiny town. It had a main street lined with stores, houses with trees and gardens around them, a schoolhouse, about 300 people, and some assorted cats and dogs. Well, that building says lumber. That one's for sale. And there's different houses. Now we'll go down to the streets and see what we see. There is a Zippy gas station. There is Kathy's gift shop, a hardware store. Ooh, a movie theater. Shoes, cleaners, cars. There's a bird. There's another bird. There's a gym. There's some more birds. I don't see a lot of... Oh, there's 2 dogs. I was just going to say, I don't see a lot of cats and dogs. There's 2 dogs. But there were no food stores in the town of Chew and Swallow. They didn't need any. The sky supplied all the food they could possibly want. Oh, there's a cat. And there's some pretty flowers. He's got a plant inside. There's some more pretty flowers, and there's a dog. The only thing that was really different about Chew and Swallow was its weather. It came 3 times a day, at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Everything that anyone ate came from the sky. Oops, sorry. Didn't mean to hit it with my other hand. Whatever the weather served, that was what they ate. But it never rained rain. It never snowed snow. And it never blew just wind. It rained things like soup and juice. It snowed mashed potatoes and green peas. And sometimes the wind blew in storms of hamburgers. So that is what some of this is. Peas and mashed potatoes, drops of soup, and hamburgers. It looks like clouds. Clouds in the sky. And then it just falls down and people get to eat it. Oh my. The people could watch the weather report on television in the morning, and they would even hear a prediction for the next day's food. He's got the TV on to the weather report. Cloudy, meatballs, soup. He's got another plant and his ties and his silverware. He's got more silverware. Look at all the people collecting food. Aren't they funny? When the townspeople went outside, they carried their plates, cups, glasses, forks, spoons, knives, and napkins with them. That way, they would always be prepared for any kind of weather. If there were leftovers, and there usually were, the people took them home and put them in their refrigerators in case they got hungry between meals. All right. That looks like pancakes, maybe. So we're going to go with breakfast. Game called on account of pie. So it's raining different kinds of pie. Everybody is catching pie and eating pie. Oh, this person is getting, I was going to say soup, but he's drinking it with a straw. So maybe it's juice with no chunks. Oh, drumsticks. She's trying to catch drumsticks because that's what she's hungry for. Look at that funny picture. The menu varied. By the time they woke up in the morning, breakfast was coming down. After a brief shower of orange juice, low clouds of sunny-side up eggs moved in, followed by pieces of toast. Butter and jelly sprinkled down for the toast, and most of the time it rained milk afterwards. Okay, that's why this looks so funny. He is under a tree getting juice. The birds are drinking juice. There's toast and eggs. The squirrel has an egg on his face. There's eggs and toast and toast. Oh, there's a bird enjoying some toast with jelly. And another squirrel eating an egg. And that squirrel slipped on some jelly and is falling. Look at all the eggs and the toast. That man's enjoying his breakfast. And the birds are enjoying it too. Ralph's Roofless Restaurant. That means whatever rains in, there's no roof, so it just simply comes down. For lunch one day, Frankfurters, which are hot dogs, already in their rolls, in their buns, blew in from the northwest at about 5 miles an hour. There were mustard clouds nearby. Then the wind shifted to the east and brought in baked beans. A drizzle of soda finished off the meal. So when you come into the restaurant, you simply sit down and your plates catch whatever is falling from the sky. Your drink. He's about knocking everybody over. Look at all those hot dogs and their buns. And those are yellow clouds because those are mustard. Who likes mustard with their hot dogs? Dinner one night consisted of lamb chops, becoming heavy at times, with occasional ketchup. Periods of peas and baked potatoes were followed by gradual clearing with a wonderful jello setting in the west. Alright, there's lamb chops all over the ground. Oh, yes. Baked potato. This frog is sitting on a baked potato. And that is a cloud of jello. It's like a jello mold. The sanitation department of Chew and Swallow had a rather unusual job for a sanitation department. It had to remove the food that fell on the houses and sidewalks and lawns. The workers cleaned things up after every meal and fed all the dogs and cats. Then they emptied some of it into the surrounding oceans for the fish and turtles and whales to eat. The rest of the food was put back into the earth so that the soil would be richer for people's flower gardens. Alright, so here is the cleaner-upper. He's using a fork and a spoon and a plate to pick everything up. And he dumps it into this. And the cats and dogs cannot wait. They think it's a lovely idea. The Chew and Swallow Digest. Spaghetti ties up town. Traffic snarled on Lower Intestine Street. There was too much spaghetti and it got everywhere. See how it's all over the lines and the buildings, and there was so much spaghetti in the street, the people couldn't walk and the cars couldn't go. They had a hard time. Record-breaking pasta fall causes chaos. One day, there was nothing but gorgonzola cheese all day long. Well, that little mouse likes that cheese. But, oh, it smells bad. That's why they have this on their nose, because that is not the best smelling cheese. The next day, there was only broccoli, all overcooked. Ugh, mushy broccoli. That's not very good. And the next day, there were Brussels sprouts and peanut butter with mayonnaise. Brussels sprouts, peanut butter with mayonnaise. Happy birthday, Floyd. Well, he doesn't look real happy because look what his cake is. Peanut butter, Brussels sprouts, mayonnaise, and 4 candles. I don't think I'd want to go to that birthday party. Another day, there was a pea soup fog. No one could see where they were going, and they could barely find the rest of the meal that got stuck in the fog. Have you ever been in fog? A fog is like a low-lying cloud. You can't see through it very much. It would be gross to walk through if it was soup. Wow. The food was getting larger and larger, and so were the portions. The people were getting frightened. Violent storms blew up frequently. Awful things were happening. One Tuesday, there was a hurricane of bread and rolls all day long and into the night. There were soft rolls and hard rolls, some with seeds and some without. There was white bread and rye and whole wheat toast. Most of it was larger than they had ever seen bread and rolls before. It was a terrible day. Everyone had to stay indoors. Roofs were damaged, and the sanitation department was beside itself. The mess took the workers 4 days to clean up, and the sea was full of floating rolls. See, this is the sea. There's a boat out there, and he wanted to play in the sea, but it's full of rolls. It's full of bread. To help out, the people piled up as much bread as they could in their backyard. The birds picked at it a bit, but it stayed there and got staler and staler. All right, there's a whole bunch of different rolls. And the birds ate what they could, but there was just too much. They just couldn't do it. Oh my, I wonder what happened here. There was a storm of pancakes one morning and a downpour of maple syrup that nearly flooded the town. A huge pancake covered the school. No one could get it off because of its weight, so they had to close the school. Oh, you can see the steps and the door into the school. And there's a car and all these people, all these children who didn't have to go to school. And a giant pancake on the school and a helicopter trying to lift it, not happening. Oh, and there's a pancake on that church steeple, and there's more pancakes in the sky. Oh yes, look at all those pancakes. That tree has a pancake with some syrup. They are just having a really hard time with the weather. Lunch one day brought 15-inch drifts of cream cheese and jelly sandwiches. Everyone ate themselves sick, and the day ended with a stomach ache. So, cream cheese and jelly sandwiches. See how they're shoveling it like they would snow? They're just trying to get it out of the way. Got snow shovels for all these sandwiches. Wow, that doesn't look good. There was an awful salt and pepper wind accompanied by An even worse tomato tornado. People were sneezing themselves silly and running to avoid the tomatoes. The town was a mess. There were seeds and pulp everywhere. All right, this is the tomato tornado. There's a man up there in a boat, and a person, and a lady who was in her house, a chicken who wants to be in the house, a man in the bathtub, and there's just tomato sauce everywhere. Picking up cars, picking up houses. What a mess. Oh my, it looks like it gets even worse. The sanitation department gave up. The job was too big. Everyone feared for their lives. They couldn't go outside most of the time. Many houses had been badly damaged by giant meatballs. Stores were boarded up and there was no more school for the children. Giant donuts. It's a florist. Oh, there's the meatballs and bacon going through people's houses. Large slices of pizza. And there's a dog stepping in a big thing of pizza. There's a hamburger that squished a man, trying to get him out of there. So a decision was made to abandon this town of Chew and Swallow. It was a matter of survival. That looks like a giant pickle, but I'm not sure. Ice cream? Like what you put on a cone? Lamb chops? I'm not quite sure. There's olives. There's a little bit of everything. There's an olive. The church steeple already had a pancake on it. Now it has a giant olive. The people glued together the giant pieces of stale bread sandwich style with peanut butter. Okay, so they took the giant pieces of bread that were stale, put peanut butter, trying to make some kind of a boat. It needs that down there for the boat. Took the absolute necessities with them and set sail on their rafts for a new land. They're on stale bread and the sharks are eating their stale bread. And there's still more clouds of meatballs and sandwiches coming in. But look at all these little boats. There's more boats. So all these people are trying to leave. Oh, and there's more boats. There's a dog. They just can't take it anymore. After being afloat for a week, they finally reached a small coastal town which welcomed them. The bread had held up surprisingly well enough for them to build temporary houses for themselves out of it. So they took their boats of bread, and they made them into kind of houses. They cut windows and they cut doors, made little second floors. The children began school again, and the adults all tried to find places for themselves in the new land. The biggest change they had to make was getting used to buying food at a supermarket. They found it odd that the food was kept on shelves, packaged in boxes, cans, and bottles. Meat that had to be cooked was kept in large refrigerators. Nothing came down from the sky except rain and snow. The clouds above their heads were not made of fried eggs. No one ever got hit by a hamburger again. And nobody dared to go down Nobody dared to go back to Chew and Swallow to find out what had happened to it. They were too afraid. Henry and I were awake until the very end of Grandpa's story. I remember his good-night kiss. Well, that was quite a bedtime story. Goodness, Grandpa. The next morning, we woke up to see snow falling outside our window. We ran downstairs for breakfast and ate it a little faster than usual so we could go sledding with Grandpa. Oh, there's Grandpa. There's the kids and there's the dog. He likes to go sledding too. It's funny, but even as we were sliding down the hill, we thought we saw a giant pat of butter at the top, and we could almost smell mashed potatoes. Because remember, the other place rained down potatoes for the snow and rained down butter. But really, this is just the sun coming up and pretty snow. The end.